Greetings to all. This video is for all the teachers and the parents who are the first educator of child. I hope you all are safe and maintaining a positive environment home. Today we are going to discuss a momentous topic, that is teaching and learning with empathy. I got the idea of discussing this topic of empathy with you while I was making my last video. Whatever I'm going to share with you today is what I learned from my educators, my seniors, and my own experience with a bit of research work. And here is what I want to share with all of you. Today's education system doesn't give much opportunities to teachers to teach and let the students learn with empathy. The vast syllabus which has to be covered in limited time, along with those co-curricular activities which hardly focus on empathy. And at home, the working parents, they are just restricted to complete their homework whenever they are free in the evening. And we don't even bother to know what exactly empathy is and keep confusing that with sympathy. Empathy is feeling somebody's emotion, feeling somebody's situation, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and then understanding the situation of that person, the feelings of the person who's going through. On the other hand, sympathy is just feeling sorry for that situation, whereas empathy lets you feel what exactly the person is going through. So when you understand the person, when you feel the emotions of the person, then that's empathy. And just feeling sorry for that person, for his condition, is sympathy. Imagine yourself in a mall. You see a girl walking. What kind of thoughts would you get? Take 5 seconds and think. Look at the top. There is an I button. You can click and go for the poll. Now look at the answers. So if you got the thoughts related to A option, that means you have sympathy for the person. If you got B answer, that means you have empathy for the person. And that is the difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is not innate, it's learned, and the best age is childhood. Why is it important for our children to learn empathy and to learn with empathy? Empathy yields the kindness and courage. Courage to speak for the self, to speak for others. Courage to stand for the self and stand for others. Studies have proved people who get more empathy develop higher capacity of learning. So teachers and parents, if you deal your children with empathy, you help them learn really fast. Empathy is antidote to stress. Stress affects the human brain development negatively in children. So you deal your children with empathy to trigger their brain development. Empathy is proved to be a motivating factor, whereas lack of empathy is regarded as antisocial behavior. Empathy is not only about hugs and patting on the back. It is a skill which is learned, which includes cooperation, and that gives the productive outcome from the young generation. So, burdening somebody overly and then giving appreciation is not empathy. This way, the creativity and the productivity of young generation reduce. How do we teach and deal with our students and children with empathy? Listen to the child's perspective. Do not impose your perspective. Listen to the child's perspective and try understanding what is his situation and why does he complain and why does he say. Understand the child's perspective. Number 2, do not judge child. When the child comes to you with a problem, do not judge your child and students on somebody else's statement. Try understanding the child. Try to find out what exactly the problem is. Communicate with children. not with the intention to fix it, with the intention to understand them, to understand their situation, to understand their mentality at that point of time. With the intention of fixing it may help the child and you in the short term, but will distort the trust of the child on you in long term. And the most important, teaching empathy. Science research suggests that human brain has mirror neurons, which are fired when the animal acts or when the animals observe somebody else acting. Thus, the neurons mirrors the behavior and starts to imagine himself in that whole situation and starts to get the same kind of emotions. Using this science, we all can teach students empathy. If you remember, in the beginning of the video I said I got the idea of discussing empathy with you all when I was designing my last video. There is a link, there is an I button. You can click and visit that video and see how through a life process the child was put into a situation and what kind of emotions the child gets and experiences when the child is learning academy. In the same way, we teachers can put the children in different scenario with the stories, with the videos, where the child starts to feel the same thing, starts to respond in the same way, and that's how the child learns empathy. I know it's very easy for the language teacher to teach empathy as they have a lot many stories. It gets difficult for a conceptual subject to bring empathy in the subject. But nothing is impossible. You can have a look to all my science videos and there you will get an idea how to teach with empathy in science. And I'll just present one example of mathematics, how the students can be taught empathy through this concept. Students can be asked to read the story and underline the lines or words which indicate the concept of comparing numbers, odd and even numbers, and number names. There was a boy named Zen. He was 18 years old. He got 255 rupees as his pocket money, which was 50 rupees more than his brother because his brother had 205 rupees. Zen was kind-hearted. He thought to distribute his pocket money to poor and needy people. He knew 4 such people who were in need. He wanted to divide his pocket money equally. Then he realized 4 is an even number and his pocket money is an odd number. So he will have some money left with him, from which he would get some grains for birds. So this way, we all need to make sure that we deal our children and students with empathy and we teach them empathy. And that is what exactly is required to maintain good relationships, to develop mind and to provide a healthy environment. I hope you all liked the video. Wait for the next video. Do not forget to subscribe. If you have any other ideas to teach with sympathy and to teach sympathy, do share in the comment section. Let me know how do you like this video. Take care. Have a nice day.